Hi guys and girls, this is Shadi back for another update. It's been about 4 months roughly for me in this hobby, and I just want to share with you in this video basically what I've learned, what I think I've done right, what I think I've done wrong. Just this video is going to be mainly for beginners, just like me, to kind of tell you what my experience has been so far with this, and on the whole it's been pretty positive, no major surprises, and I think that's probably due to some good planning at the start. So yeah, just to give you an insight, I'm going to show you also some of the stuff I'm testing for, and how I'm going to be recording my levels and things like that, and what I've found with I've done a couple of tests where I've not done water changes for around 4 weeks, and what I found out there and what I've learned from it. So yeah, I mean, just to summarise, I mean, I did I never learned anything about this hobby before I started, and I decided, well, I did about 6 weeks of research, pretty much solely on YouTube, of people like New York Stilo and people like Mr. Saltwater Tank and other people who got some good videos on there, and I think, I also read, I had a couple of books as well, and read a bit. I couldn't read the entire Reef Aquarium book, but I read a fair bit of it. So I felt I was pretty armed and had a lot of knowledge on how to do this. And one of the first things I said to myself was, I'm not, water changes are something that would really piss me off in this hobby, and it would really put me off after time, that kind of hassle. So my main goal was to make the hobby as enjoyable as possible. And I did that by, as you've probably seen in my other videos, the saltwater storage system and the RO water storage system in the other room, which enables me to do the automatic water change, which is, I have to say, it has been a blessing, in terms of no hassle on the tank. And by setting up that storage system first, I think I did myself a lot of justice there, because it's just made the whole thing much easier. I also made sure I had every piece of equipment possible, and like I said, the only thing that one of the things I may have fallen down on, as it's just coming up to English summer here, is the chiller. I thought possibly with these LEDs that I wouldn't have enough heat to really justify a chiller. Now, actually, in my experience, I don't think it is the LEDs that's causing, at the moment, well, my water naturally stays at 78 degrees. At the moment outside it's absolutely roasting. We've got a heat wave here in the UK, and since this heat wave has just started, it's now it's on 80, but last night at the end of the day, I mean, it was a hot day. It was up to 81, even just below 82, which, I don't think that's a disaster. Everything seems fine. Nothing's actually gone terribly wrong from that, but yeah, basically, I'm not sure if that still justifies me having a chiller at this moment in time. I'm just thinking about it, and I have got room to put one in the tank, but it's very rare we get a heat wave like this in the UK. So far everything is going pretty good with that, and every other piece of equipment that I've chosen, I think has helped. The other area where I've fallen down, well, not fallen down, is every now and then, I think a lot also, while I've not worked it out entirely, but there was an area where, I don't know if you can see the sandbed very well here, but there was an area where the sandbed was really clean, and recently, it was during we stopped doing the water changes, I started to get more algae bloom in the tank. Now, I've heard that lower magnesium levels, it could have been higher nitrates, although I did test for nitrates, and they were still very, very low. Whether the algae was eating those nitrates, and also there could have been a factor with my phosphate reactor hadn't been changed for probably about 2 months, maybe 6 weeks to 2 months. So with a combination of some of those factors, a bit of algae started to come back in the tank. I started doing setting the regular water changes again, and I replaced the phosphate media, and it's all died away again, and now it's just in a process of cleaning up again. So it was one of those factors that caused it. because I did a number of things to rectify it, I couldn't really tell which particular thing it was. But yeah, so you know, I'm kind of starting to get a grasp of this hobby now, and I understand the real importance of water changes after my little test. And you know, calcium levels dropping due to, you know, corals using up the calcium, and you know, by putting back on a regular water change routine, you know, those calcium levels are back up again now. So I'm kind of, you know, I've seen people like New York Stilo, they like to dose the system, and they like to basically, you know, control the environment without water changes manually by adding calcium and other elements into the tank. For me personally, because I've got that system set up that's so simple, and the water storage system, I think it's got to be, and because I can automate it, I'm going to do automatic water changes to basically keep all the levels in check. It just seems like the simplest and easiest way to do that. Yeah, so that's basically, you know, a summary of what I've done so far. I will show you a little bit of my testing now and what I do to record that, now that I'm on this regular water change regime. So yeah, just some thoughts there, and I will take a cut. Yeah, so this is basically our test. I've got a number of test kits. The ones I'm doing at the moment, I'm going to do nitrates. I'm going to do my alkalinity. I don't want that swinging too much. I'm going to do calcium levels, check those out. I'm going to do phosphate. I'm going to do iodine, and I'm going to do magnesium. So they're the ones I'm just going to check today. I'll put this towel on the table just so I don't get any of the dyes from the solutions on the table. And I've got my laptop to put the it all into an Excel spreadsheet. And I'll maybe show you some of the tests as well. Okay, so here is basically, I don't know whether you can see that, whether the camera picks it up that well, but with the side view on this Salifert test kit, it reads exactly, I'm going to say, at 10, which when you're doing a side view on this, you divide it by 10 in order to get the correct reading. So that is basically 1 parts per million nitrates in the tank, which, you know, with 23 fish in the tank, I'm going to say that's pretty good. Protein skim's pulling out some nice dark crap at the moment, and yeah, I presume that the deep sand bacteria is working to help those nitrates, but as you know, I've not got any real comparison there. I can't really say, but you know, 1 part per million with this amount of livestock in the tank, I'm really happy with it from what I've heard from other people. Okay, so after I've taken a reading, basically, you know, I come here and I've got this little Excel spreadsheet. So I'm basically going to put the date in here, and then I've got all my, you know, things that I test for up along the top, and I'm going to make a recording. I've not actually recorded every single test I've done on this sheet. I've been a little bit slack at sometimes, but it is a, you know, good idea, and it's good for me just to get a good you know, view of what I've been doing. But I think it is important to have a nice recording tool of this kind. And the main thing I'm looking out here today is, you know, I've done a bit of research believing that magnesium, nice levels of magnesium around the 1,300 parts per million are going to help with algae as well. And I think now that I'm doing these water changes a bit more regularly, I'm hoping that I'm starting to see a lot more coralline in the tank since I started doing these changes more regularly. So I'm going to test my magnesium. I'm going to put in my nitrate reading that I just had there, which is the same as last time, 1 part per million. And I'm going to test for all my other elements. I'm particularly interested in my alkalinity today, my magnesium, and also my calcium levels. Okay, so just on my magnesium levels, and basically it's right down on the 0.1, which is around 1,300 to 1,350 parts per million, which is exactly, well not exactly, but it's definitely in a very good range of where I want it. And because I'm doing these regular water changes, I'm really starting to see you know, the coralline coming back really nicely now. You can see on the back here I've got some nice green and pink, and on this MP40 there's some lovely pink spots, and this has all just come back in the last 4 weeks really, while I've been doing these regular water changes after that test. So you can see it on the magnet, on the cleaner magnet there, and so it's just, it just shows me how important it is to keep these nice high calcium in about the 420 parts per million, and the magnesium up around the 1300 area as well. It just shows me how important it is, and so therefore I'm just getting a gauge now by doing these tests. I don't want to have to test and manually dose all the time, so I have gone a bit OTT on the water changes. I'm going for a 25% every week. It's almost a 30% actually, which you might think is a bit excessive, but if it's going to keep all my levels perfectly where I want them, and because the water change is automated, I just think that's just one less hassle to deal with. You know that your stuff's going to be good, all that your tank parameters are going to be great all the time. Just takes all the hassle out of the hobby. So yeah, it's just basically been a quick update, just showing everybody what what I've learned so far, and hopefully any beginners who are getting into this can learn something too. Yeah, hit me up, give me a question if you want to know any more, and hope everyone's doing good. Give me a thumbs up if you want more videos, and this is Shadi signing out.